Welcome back, everyone. Going into the second half here of the drop frames. Let's talk elite. Let's jump straight into it. DJ.
Hi.
First off, give me the quick spiel. Have you? I don't think me and Zeke have definitely not jumped into the game. I think Co is aware what the game is. I know loosely what the game's about. For everyone not aware, give us the quick rundown of what Elite Dangerous is.
Okay, Elite Dangerous is a procedural generation of the Milky Way galaxy with 400 billion star systems and all. There's a bunch of different. Yep. And Zeke wants no part.
And we lost Zeke.
Zeke's done. He's
Let's
out.
continue.
He's done. Look,
it's a procedural generation of the Milky Way galaxy.
He's flat earther.
So, for example, they found the additional exoplanets in our solar system that are just stupidly way out. They added those in game to positionally is where they would be in game. There's a bunch of different jobs you can go pirating. Up until now, a lot of Elite has been buying and selling. Basically, go to a place, buy low, sell high somewhere else, or combat to people who are going into systems, because there is a full political system in Elite called power play. You choose a political power, you support that political power in, like, let's say you want to go over to build a star system next to one of their systems and kind of like slowly let them know, like, hey, you could be under control of this powerful person right here. Go do that. So like you could do that. You could weaken systems that are already a part of others. Like it's just, there's a ton to do in Elite, but Odyssey has just added another entire level to it. So 60% of the planets in the game of those 400 million star systems were already landable in Horizons. Horizons was the last paid expansion to Elite, which got rolled into Elite back in October. So now with Odyssey, it is the newest paid expansion. And if they're doing it the same way they did with Odyssey, this is going to be essentially a season pass that lasts for multiple major updates. In Odyssey, they just added the ability to be the first person to step foot on planets. So you get first footfall. And there's a couple different other things that go along with that. You can find new star systems. The cool part about finding new star systems is that in all of the platforms that Elite Dangerous is on, when you select a star system, you get to see the first person who found it. So I've got systems that I found, and I've got systems that I haven't scanned, but scanning is like a deep surface scan of each individual planet to get all the details. Scanning is another level of detail you get just by looking at a star system. And then you have first footfall as well. So there's three full things. If you want to go into a star system and be the first person to find it, to scan all of the planets you can scan and land on all the planets you can land on, that is a thing that you can do. And everybody who plays the game gets to see it.
Hey, real quick, DJ, did you say that they rolled Horizon into the base game? Because is the base game?
Yes.
How much does the base game cost?
The base game, I think, is, I don't remember off the top of the head.
I can look it up
because I bought it back in 2015. It was actually a gift, the base game, back in 2015.
Yeah.
And I got Horizons because Horizons was the first ability to land on planets. It is right now like $750 on Steam if you wanted to get Elite Dangerous.
And that comes with Horizons?
Yes. It's like Horizons, as we can talk about Horizons, but it literally has been rolled into the base game of Elite. So for $750, you get the things that people haven't had access to since December 2015 until Odyssey, until like last October, that's been rolled into the base game. So what took somebody $60 in December of 2015 is now $750 for all of the content. It's silly. There's a ridiculous amount to do. And with being able to get first footfalls, there's a lot of other things as well. There are multiple life forms that you can find on certain planets. Once you do a detailed scan, you get to see where biological life exists. There are multiple different types. Like I found mushroom trees yesterday, and then bacteria, and you have to get a biologically diverse grouping of those to get a biological sample that you can sell that data to the, like, any system that you go to that has a location that you can land on and sell that data, and that gets you money to kind of continue your explorations if you want to explore. Like Elite, I could talk about Elite for an hour and not touch on all the stuff, because even though I have over a month of actual in-game time, like there are people who have surpassed the amount of time I've played in Elite years ago, like full on years ago. I love the game because when I play in a very immersive fashion. I have an X56 Rhino on the desk. I've got pedals. I've got a track IR, which tracks my head movement and actually moves the screen around. So if I'm in a dogfight, I can actually look out of my ship in a direction and see where they are. And then I have voice attack, which if you've never used voice attack, it by itself is just the software that you can use to automate things on your computer. But HCS voice packs has created hacks like with, for example, there's an Orion pack that has William Shatner as a voice. There is most of the cast of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Brent Spiner, Marina Sirtis. Like I am a voice pack. I am the voice of Apollo. I was trying not to go too deep into mine, but I'm one of the voice packs as well. But like you can actually tell it, like engage a hyperspace jump, and it will tear up and start you jumping.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, you like Star Trek?
Say what?
I said, wait a minute, you like Star Trek?
I really
First
do.
I'm hearing about it.
Thunk it. You know, I would have thought that you would have known, but it's cool. Like you never know. Maybe I might like Star Trek.
Zeke's like, we should do an RPG game on that sometime.
We really should. We should do a Star Trek adventure at some point, like Star Trek Fleet Command, Star Trek Bridge Crew. I don't care. I feel like we got to do something Star Trek related.
Yeah,
Zeke,
maybe on a table.
You and me.
Maybe around like a table.
It could be a tabletop thing. Maybe we roll some dice. Maybe we have game mechanics around how this works. Maybe we invite some friends. Like Blue Jay might be into it. Pumpkinberry might be into it. Like you never know. That could be a thing that we do.
It could. So,
but no, I could go on Elite for ages. So like, give me specific questions that I can answer because I could literally talk this entire hour about it.
Well, I think Zeke, go ahead because I do want to get into the whole controversy that happened this past week with release, and I don't think you're going to go into that. Yeah. So go ahead.
Does this game have like a centralized story, like a main quest, like you can follow, or not?
In a way, yes, but not really. Elite is one of the most open-ended games that I've ever played. Yeah. And I feel like that might be the reason why I like it. There are community goals every week. And if you're into the lore of the games you play, community goals are living the lore. Because there are alien races called Thargoids, which I'm wearing the shirt for. There are the Guardians, who is another race who seems like they might be friendly with humans. There's technology that has been boosted with Guardian tech. They're just with those three things, that's pretty awesome, right? But right now, Thargoids are attacking stations. Like one station has been destroyed by Thargoids, and with us being able to land on our feet now, we're going to find more, I'm sure, details about Thargoids. I imagine we're probably going to see on foot Thargoids within the next year or so, but it's crazy because the community goals change week to week. Like, for example, right now, the community goal is between one of the power play political figures, Edward Main, I think it is. I've ruined the name. Somebody's going to be like,
DJ doesn't know it. He doesn't know his name.
But he's going up for re-election, and someone is challenging him.
Now, is this a real person?
In this race?
Yeah, exactly.
These are in-game.
Okay.
These are in-game names. But the way that the community goals work is each goal has a certain amount of tiers. So like tier 1, tier 2 through 5. The higher the tiers get reached, the more that affects the story moving forward. So if like right now, last I checked yesterday, Mayan was in the lead in this community goal of delivering 3 different types of things to a specific station. And you have to sign up for the community goal. You can't just deliver them. I actually made that mistake before I logged off yesterday. I made like 8 million in profit by selling things, but I hadn't signed up for the goal. So I need to go and do it today before it ends. But this may decide whether or not Mayan wins or loses. And that won't matter maybe until a year from now. Maybe the person who's being elected would do something differently, but we won't know. So there is a live action lore. And the cool part is while you're flying around, if you want to go mining, if you want to go combat, if you want to go hunting or exploring, you can actually play. They added an option to play the community goals and like a lot of the updates. So you know which systems have fights going on and then which systems are battling the Thargoids. You can listen to that while you're doing whatever you're doing. So there's a lot of lore in Elite. It's just that it's happening live and they don't do it massively with a bunch of stuff happening. It's like one major thing a week and then one major thing the next week and then one major thing the other week. And Barry knows because Barry has a tool for Elite that I have installed. I just need to actually remember to enable it before I start Elite. Because I know he's going to say in the chat, it's like, come on.
He does love his dev tool for, yes. Talks awesome about a lot.
Real quick,
Yeah,
DJ, you use the head tracking thing. Do you do VR?
I don't do VR on stream because I have two monitors. Like this is my OBS monitor, this is my chat monitor, and I have my game monitor. I don't want to lose having all of those things. Track IR for me is like the next best thing. It clips to my headset. I actually have it clipped. I unplugged my headset so that I could use the earbuds, but it's just a triangulator. It has 3 infrared beams that come out of it. There's a webcam that sits on top of the monitor. It triangulates my head's position, so when I turn, it moves the screen, which adds to the immersion. So it's the closest thing to being in VR without actually having a headset on, and it's also easier on having heat because a VR headset is very warm after a while.
Sure.
But it adds to the immersion, and to me, like the sound design, Edmund Mangan, thank you. The sound design behind Elite is some of the best audio I've heard out of video games. Like the music kicks in at nice paces. Like while I was going exploring yesterday, I was just randomly looking on the planet to see if I could find bacteria. And after I ran for a bit, the audio just kind of kicked in with music like right perfectly when I was like, okay, this could be nice. And then the music started playing. And it's like, okay, cool. And then that just kind of gets you into it a little bit more. So the music is fantastic. How does moving your head combine with a stationary monitor? You can actually control the sensitivity of how much your head moves. Like everybody knows that you can look at something and then turn your head like this far and still be able to see that thing, right? Like you got your peripheral vision.
Right.
But you can change the sensitivity of the track IR. So if you want it to be a very short head movement to move your head around and it still do that on screen, you can do that. So it's all up to you, and they have a software that comes with it that lets you adjust. So if you needed to move less, and yes, it works with a bunch of different games. The cool part about Track IR is that they have a series of games they work with. Voice Attack works. If you get one of the packs, Voice Attack works with Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, No Man's Sky, Star Wars Squadrons, and then I think they have basic first-person shooter controls as well. So like a lot of these things that I'm using can be used for a lot of different games. It's not just Elite. But as far as VR is concerned, Elite with a flight stick and a VR headset and Voice Attack is the most immersive virtual reality experience I have ever had.
Yeah.
So if you're into VR and you have a flight stick, do it.
You're not the first to say
Please.
that, for sure. So with all that said, what is going on this past week with the launch of Odyssey? I know the CEO came out and said, hey, we're sorry. I'm skimming through this. I'll let you kind of say what the issues are, but in a nutshell, performance issues, server outages, bug reports, blah, blah, blah. Did it have just a rocky launch? Did it come out early? Like what's the general sentiment right now? What's your take on it?
I feel like the general sentiment is of any game that has a rocky launch that people review bomb on Steam. That, to me, is the gist of what's happening.
Sure.
Yes, there are people who are reporting less performance. They acknowledge this. They're working on it. Yes, there are issues connecting to servers, but for example, I've been playing Elite since November of 2015. I've been wanting them to give me the ability to walk the entire time. So people who bought Elite Dangerous back in 2015, like, I can't walk. I'm done with this. I'll wait. Those people might just get a bit excited if they enjoyed the game and they wanted to walk around, that you can walk around now. So the amount of planets that exist that you can land on is stupid. Like actually, I'll pull up the blog post, or not even the forum post that they put out not long ago about Odyssey. Excuse me. There are over 400 billion star systems in the game, and as of February 5th, players have traversed just 201 million of those systems, which is about 0.05% of the total systems in the game. So anywhere that exists that you can land on, you likely have the ability to walk on that planet, depending on whether or not it's too hot or too cold. I landed on a planet yesterday that was too hot. It wouldn't let me walk around, so I went to the dark side and landed just fine. But with that much space, with that much stuff, with that much procedural generation, there are bound to be issues. And really, to me, it comes down to one thing. Name me an online game that is heavily focused on online gameplay that hasn't had a rough week in the beginning.
Final Fantasy 14.
They had to remake the entire game.
I wasn't going to say it, but it was said.
Shadowbringers. There, nailed it.
An expansion of Final Fantasy 14. I see what you did there. But no, it's That's literally for me. I'm so used to online games having rough launches that I just figured a week is not too much to ask for network issues. Network issues are going to get fixed. Now, issues with performance, they're working on that. Considering that I've been playing Elite this long, I feel like Frontier has given me the benefit of the doubt that if they're having issues on launch of something, cool, they'll fix it. Also, having the history of having taught people how to make games for 4 years, when you look at a game like Elite that has so much procedurally generated content, there is no physical way to play test to find all of the bugs until it goes live. So I don't know what their dev team is like, but I always like to use a number puzzle to kind of explain it. If they have 10 QA staff, and obviously I would imagine they got way more than that, but if they have 10 people on QA staff that are working 40-hour weeks, that's 400 hours a week, 1,600 hours in a month. In 10 months, that is 16,000 hours. If 16,000 people hop into Elite, considering there are 400 billion star systems and they are scattered around the entirety of the Milky Way galaxy, and 16,000 I feel like is a conservative number. There's very likely more than that. But if that many people log around in that much space, they are going to find in an hour more than the 10-person QA team has had time to find bugs in 10 months. So I expect online games are going to have major issues on launch. Does that stop me from playing them? No. But I also understand that this is a dev team and they do a lot of amazing work, and they've done a lot of amazing work. So since they've proven to me over time that they are going to fix their bugs, I'm like, all right, cool. I'll give you time to fix your bugs. In the meantime, I've had very few issues.
Yeah, my quick glance is that it was mostly on not tip-top hardware is where a lot of the issues were occurring, at least performance-wise. Most of the people that were running like a current day dev machine, as the CEO says, had no issues. What about like the server outages? Was that just a case of like too many people trying to do too many things at one time, or?
On launch day, I couldn't get into the game reliably for an hour or two. Like, because it was like the bug. If you played Elite, you've gotten the orange Sidewinder bug that is server related. Again, 5 years of people being built up into excitement about being able to walk around in a game. It's an online game. The servers are going to get overloaded. I'm still confused by.
Oh, people are allowed to be upset
about it. It's like,
I think people are allowed to be upset if they spend money.
No, I'm not knocking people being upset. Like, by all means, be upset. But like, for me, it's like, it's confusing when I've been playing online games as far back as I can remember. Anytime a game launches that is online focused, that a lot of people play, and Elite Dangerous on all of the platforms, PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox, Series X, Xbox One X, all of those platforms are live on Elite at all times. They basically added a whole nother game in addition to the massive game that already existed. So is it any surprise that there's online issues? I don't. Yeah, I understand people's anger, but
it should never be a surprise. That's a
right. It is not surprising to me in the slightest.
Yeah.
I can't name many games outside of Shadowbringers.
Shadowbringers had like one DDoS as well. No game is perfect online.
Right. Like any launch for an online game is going to be servers are going to get destroyed. That's just how that works. And if it happens every expansion, if you've been through more than one Elite expansion, because Horizon was the last paid expansion, but there was also Beyond since Horizon launched. It happens every expansion. If you know it happens every expansion, are you surprised that it's happened on this one? Like, they're humans. They can only do so much before it gets to the player base. And once they see these bugs, they fix them pretty quick. So I don't know. If you know it's going to be the launch of something new, and you know that every time something launches, you're not going to be able to get in, give it a week.
Yeah, I'm reading through
a lot of people have like it's interesting though, because on the flip side, like I think a lot of people feel that it's an expansion. They've done it a bunch of times before, so shouldn't it be getting like better each time? Like Final Fantasy 14 is a good example. Like they went from having to remake the game to their expansions being very smooth experiences now because they're continually improving the process. So I understand. I definitely am with you. And actually, I've had that exact same discussion with all online games on the channel, where it's like, if a major online game releases and you're not expecting there to be problems, your expectations aren't right.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like sometimes a little bit different if it's the same product, and because it feels like they should be kind of like learning from their mistakes and making it better and things. But yeah, in this case, I mean, it's something completely new. I mean, there really had nothing like that had been there before.
Yeah.
So, and like, I think someone in chat said it was like a rendering bug where everything was trying to render at once. So you got bugs in the mix as well. So I don't know, man. It sounded a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
A lot of moving parts.
How
Are
is
you
it?
hyped for the patch tomorrow? Is it supposed to fix a bunch of stuff?
That's what I was about to ask. Great question.
Are you talking about for Elite?
Yeah.
I know they patched yesterday, and they do have another patch planned for tomorrow. And apparently, some people have said that at least some of the people that were in my community said that the patch from yesterday has helped. But also, they are definitely looking for the rendering issue to be solved, hopefully in the patch for tomorrow. And then there's a couple other bugs, like some people are getting stuck in infinite loops in the taxis, because you can basically call a ship to take you from one place to another place, and then they are having issues connecting with the server. But that's one of the other things they're focusing this patch on as well. So they're being as forward as possible and letting people know what's going on. So personally, I have not experienced many issues. And I feel like somebody said, like, DJ doesn't fit the show. He's doing damage control. It's like, oh, I'm explaining.
Don't read chat.
From a point of
Close chat.
Right, like, oh.
Stop responding to chat.
Know, but it's the principle of the thing. I have a dev background and I understand this game. All right, cool. I'll minimize the chat. But I was like, I also have a history of loving this game, and
sure, yeah.
I don't know. It makes sense to me that online games have issues on launch. So I've not had many of those issues outside of launch day, not being able to connect. I think it was last Wednesday, a week ago today.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I got disconnected like twice yesterday, but it wasn't like heavy, and I just logged back to the main menu and then went back in and was fine.
Right.
It's common. So I don't know. I understand it.
Let me ask you this. When you were talking about all the different things you have to play, track IR, the throttles and all that stuff, if someone's wanting to jump in for the first time, I feel like these games have kind of that barrier of entry where it's like, do I have to have all that stuff? Can I just download the game? Can I go grab it for $7 today and just like jump in and have a good time? Like what should someone, to set expectations, what should someone expect if they grab it right now and jump in after downloading?
I feel like don't expect a ton of hand holding, but the tutorials do a really good job of explaining how to get started in Elite Dangerous. One of the things that I recommend to people is to play the tutorial at least twice, so that you can play through it once to get an understanding of the basics, and then try to get that muscle memory on the second playthrough of the tutorial. There's also a single player combat tutorial that'll give you an idea of how to actually use your ship to your advantage. Do you need a flight stick and track IR and voice attack? No, I just like things helping my immersion and ease of use. There's a lot of keybinds in Elite Dangerous, but there's many people who play on console who have no issue. And if someone can play on an Xbox controller, you're going to be fine. It's after you leave the first base, you have to actively go do things because the game is very open-ended. They don't really do a lot of hand holding, but that's the joy of it. It's like there's a world out there doing what you want to do, so try it. And you don't need any of this. Keyboard and mouse, there are tons of people playing Elite Dangerous with a keyboard and mouse, and they're fine. But myself, having started gaming with like IL-2 Sturmovik and having a flight stick, I tried to play Elite. It's like, no, I need a stick for this. So I got a stick and have been having a blast ever since. But you don't need to do anything extra. And I feel like it's a fantastic game. By all means, just try it. It's literally $7.50. Worst case scenario, you like it. Worst case scenario, actually, you hate it, but it's $7.50. Like, who doesn't have a ton of games in their Steam library that they haven't loaded up on because of Steam sales and haven't touched?
Sure.
I feel like trying this one is enjoyable. Actually, I'm going to end up buying another account just so I can start from scratch without deleting all of the progress that I've made, just to see how new players experience the game.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Because they actually, since the time I started, they've actually made a new player area where...
Hold on, before you continue, did you say delete the game?
No, I can delete my progress and start over if I wanted to, but I don't want to because I've done a ton of stuff.
Can't you just make a new account?
That's literally what he just said he was going to do.
Oh, that's what
I was going to buy another copy of the game and have another account.
No,
there are no additional accounts. Once you bought the game, that is your account.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
that's-
that's
I
the
don't-
difference. Yeah, okay. I missed that. I'm sorry. I apologize.
he
good.
can't just make a new profile for his current game. He has to actually buy an entire
A
new
new
game.
key. Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
And like mostly because I don't want to make a new profile because the way you buy it, that's your commander. I want to start from scratch just to see what the new player experience is because they locked the beginning systems to new players. So that way you can actually get a feel of the game without the gankers inevitably like destroying you because
Oh,
Elite
real
is
people
instant.
gankers when you say that. These are
Elite
okay.
Dangerous is it's instanced and it is by default you can play in open. And open is just like playing with everybody anywhere. And just like MMOs with PvP, somebody finds you, they will probably wreck you. So play solo to get the handle of things if you decide to. And playing solo, unlike most games, is still affecting the background simulation on Elite because, again, all the platforms that play Elite are affecting the background sim, which is, for example, the community goal. Everybody on every platform has the same community goal that they can partake in. But if you play solo, you don't have to worry about other people. I play in a private group because the private group is focused on PvE, so we can play versus the environment and not have to deal with getting ganked.
Sure.
But for me, that's just I don't get ganking because it ruins like the beginning experience for people. But that just because I don't get it doesn't mean that it's not enjoyable for some people. So meh. But
Yeah,
Elite is amazing. I love it, and you don't need all the extra stuff I have. I just enjoy it because it adds immersion.
Well, cool.
And I'm going to shut up until I get another question because I can
No,
literally
no.
talk about this game all day.
This is what are you doing right now in this current clip? Is this like Warp Drive or whatever the equivalent
That
is?
We're in Super Cruise, and Super
Okay.
Cruise is like regular flight is in like regular space. So if a plane gets off the ground and flies, Super Cruise is moving at a much higher speed, not quite the speed of light, but much higher than regular speed, and to get between planets in a star system. What you just saw was me in the deep scan of a planet. Like that's what the colorful trails were. I was sending probes out to that planet to get the details of what's on it. Because since in Odyssey, you have the ability to find biological entities, you can deep scan the planet. Once you get to 100%, it lets you know if there are biological things on the planet, lets you know if there's bases on the planet, if there's bacteria, if there's trees. You can actually sort to figure out the thing that you're looking for and then head down into an area that has those things. So I spent a lot of time yesterday looking for biological entities to get that data so that I can go back to a system and sell it, get paid. And there is an elite ranking for just about all jobs. For trading, for combat, for sales. I mean, obviously trading and sales are the same thing. But now that you can be on foot, there is mercenary work, which is the first person shooter aspect of things. And then there's the finding biological life and then selling that data. But you can get to ranked up to elite in anything. And there's like 6 or 7 levels at minimum, excuse me, for most of those careers. I think it's like 6 or 8 now at this point. And there's just ridiculous amount of stuff to do. FTL, you literally go several times the speed of light. See, my phrasing is not the best. I just know it's fast. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's fast. We're good.
It's just below FTL. See, I'm not pleading. I'm pleading the fifth. I just know it's really fast to get between planets in the star system.
I told you to
there
close that chat. You opened it.
Huh? I got added. I'm sorry.
And now your time is up, DJ.
Because I can literally talk about this nonstop.
You need a ding.
yeah, we do. Yeah,
There you
go. There you go. Yeah, it's an interesting game. Barry obviously very vocal about his time with this, and I know people that are really into this game are really into this game. I just don't know, like, when do we jump in? When's the time to jump in? Is it on expansion releases like this? Should we wait a while? Like, what's your take on that?
I feel like the expansion releases give people time to get the buzz of the game. And I feel like that's why every time they have a major expansion, they have sales on Steam. Because they want people to come in on the base game to at least figure out whether or not they want to go to the next level. I feel like Elite Dangerous has gone through so much as far as like its growth that they are always nonstop adding. So there's no right time. I feel like if you want to save money and it intrigues you right now, it's $7.50. Go for it. Try it out. And that's literally what it's about. I think the only thing that some people might be iffy on is the fact that there is a shop that you can buy cosmetics if you want to do more to support the game, but none of that is
no
required.
one
Give
should.
you any
That's
benefit.
just silly. No one should.
Yeah.
Don't buy MTX.
I mean,
That's
I spent a bunch of money there because I
How
like
dare
supporting Frontier. Yeah, how
dare you?
I know, right?
That's
But-
what was in my head, but I can't do that. I can't project like you can, unfortunately.
Sorry,
So,
and yes, you can earn the currency you use to spend in the cosmetic shop. Like everything you do in the game applies to earning you that currency, so you don't have to spend money if you don't want to. Additionally, and you can still earn up a bunch of that stuff.
cool.
So if you want to wait until after the servers have died down a little bit, probably another week, maybe, because I feel like the issues of connecting have already gone a lot down since last week. So another week, and I get the feeling they'll have it pretty locked down. But worst case scenario, you hop in soonish and have a good time, and then get the occasional disconnect. But again, like I tried playing it launch day and gets disconnected almost constantly versus playing yesterday. I got disconnected twice over like 8 hours. So it's a great game. I'm having a blast of it. Get the base game to play Horizons, land on planets, and not necessarily walk. If you want to play more, it's there.
Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about another release this week. Co, I'll jump over to you. Biomutant came out yesterday. You jumped in last Friday, I think. Continued Monday. I played a little bit on Monday. I only played like 2 hours or so, and I feel like this game is days gone in me a little, where it might start off a little slow. You've played a lot more. Does it turn into a diamond in the rough, or does it kind of just keep that? How's Biomutant? Where are we going here?
Okay. First of all, we will never talk about indies on this show again. Second of all, I think.
Okay, it's been decreed.
No, I'm kidding. I was referring more to this was an indie.
Okay.
Basically, this is how it works. It is not a Days Gone. Days Gone is like a AAA game that has a really slow start and really like shines as it continues. This is not that situation. This game is a $60 game that feels like it should be more like a $30 game. There are parts of it that are definitely AAA quality. The world is beautiful. There's some really cool crafting mechanics. There's lots of loot to get, things like that. There's some really cool stuff in this game. But the issue is that there's also a lot of stuff in this game that just doesn't quite get up to snuff. Now, it does get a lot better as you move through it, especially after the first few hours. The first few hours are very tutorial heavy.
Yes.
And unfortunately, they kind of make a centerpiece to one of the mechanics in the game that's kind of a love it or hate it, but I think most people aren't really digging it. And that is the way that the game narrates, where it kind of does this thing where you play a character and it's clearly you, but for some reason, it also makes a designation between you being a player behind the screen, and as such you don't understand any of the language in the world. So every conversation basically becomes like the creature in the world talking gibberish, and then the narrator sometimes saying exactly what they're saying, other times kind of paraphrasing for you, and it leads to this kind of disjointed, really slow process that really exacerbates kind of these long scenes into just kind of like, okay, are we done yet? Because a lot of the times those one sentence dialogues aren't like super interesting. They're just kind of that dialogue to kind of push things forward. So it's not really that great. Now, interestingly enough, I was playing today, and shout out to a viewer who relayed this to me. A dev apparently popped in chat, and this little change could make a big deal. They said, hi, dev here. Next patch will disable the gibberish and narration respectively in dialogues when set to 0.
Oh.
So what'll be nice is eventually you'll be able to just like turn off the gibberish. So it'll just be like narrator, 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 and that'll help that a lot, which is good. But continuing on, the world itself is kind of relegated into these sections where you have like a small list of objectives you can do. And although we did find like a couple on the outside, the majority of the rest of the world feels kind of empty. Like there's not really a lot going on. Which was kind of a big deal because I think a lot of people were thinking it was going to be kind of lush. The sound design is pretty terrible. And I mean like pretty terrible. There are sound effects that are basically missing. There are other aspects where the sound is just terribly mixed.
Huh.
There are things about the game's sound that feel like it's just not complete or was rushed. On top of that, the combat is missing a lot of weight. It's just not very tight. Like when you're in melee combat, a lot of times you're not really sure like why you're getting hit or how big the hitbox is. A lot of the like the enemy animations are not like, sometimes they'll actually hit you before the enemy's character will actually make contact with you. There's just like all sorts of weirdness, which actually made me to the point where I rerolled my character and went guns just because I didn't really want to deal with it. I'm having a much better time now. On top of that, there is this is a very open world game that has a ton of side content, but like a lot of the abilities, there's just not a lot of them. So like I picked a class that's Deadeye, and I only get 5 perks for the class, and they top out at 15. And I've like I'm not even to the second boss yet, and my character's like level 16. So it's just like, are they expecting us to kind of like really diversify? It seems like it's very shallow.
Huh.
What someone in my chat and good vibes to him. We were talking about TB's 3 years since he had passed.
Right.
And they brought up a line that he had said where it's like, wide as an ocean, shallow as a puddle, kind of thing, where it's like the game is very large, but the more you look into a lot of the mechanics, they're just like, they're really not that deep, or they're not really fleshed out, or the spell casting class. There's like,
that's what I
think like 9 or 10 spells total. But at the same time, you instantly get locked out of a few of them, depending on if you go light or dark. Yeah,
literally,
which is a very weird decision. It's like, did they really expect you to spend like 60 hours only using like a very small handful of skills, outside of the bio ones? But it gets to a point where it's like, why would you use those if you have a better version of these other ones? So I don't know. It's just like there's things about the game that are cool, and I do want to point out that I played it multiple times. I reeled my character. It is a fun game. It's just not that AAA experience that I think a lot of people were looking forward to. It really does kind of hurt that they did charge $60 for the product. And then a lot of people have been following this for like years. I mean, what is it? 4 years this game was in development. So I think that people were expecting, like, especially after this long, that they were just going to get something that was a little more cohesive. So some people have written this game off completely. And I would certainly not go that far. It is a decent, fun little action adventure game. But at the same time, this is by no means, I feel like, one of those games that's going to be getting really big really fast. It's not going to be like, man, I can't wait for Biomutant 2. It's more like, this is something we can do until some other stuff comes out.
Yeah. Would you agree? For me, this was like, when I think of what like a 6 or a 6.5 in a review score in the universal gamer language, this is what I think of, right? Like it was right there in terms of like almost being incredible, but it didn't quite jump over that like 7.5 type deal.
I would completely see why you say that. For me, I tend to speak more in like terms of value, and where the game is
use numbers.
I don't use numbers. But no, going on in terms of value, I would say this is not a $60 product. This is a $30 indie product. Yeah. And I honestly think that the reception would have been significantly better. I don't speak in numbers, but here's some numbers. I think it would have been significantly better if the game had released at a $30 price point. I think that would have made, it would have not only realigned expectations a bit, but it would have made a lot of people feel like they aren't getting kind of like, in some ways, a little ripped off.
Yeah, 60 is a lot to ask for sure.
More importantly, it sets expectations.
It does.
I mean, you're expecting at least a decent soundscape for $60. You're expecting, like character progression that will last you as long as they want you to play the game. Like there's just a lot of expectations that are set when you especially these days, with as many games that are coming out around now. Like, you're basically saying, choose our game for 60 over the other 10 plus games that are coming out within the next few weeks. And that's a real hard sell for this game.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I didn't get very far in terms of, like, I never even saw this mech that you were utilizing. I went caster route, immediately was pigeonholed into.
I went caster rerolled.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I probably would have if I had kept playing past the part where you like meet your mom, if that makes sense to you.
That is kind of, I think that is one of the harder parts.
It was just
almost didn't re-roll just because I didn't want to replay through all that stuff. I ended up just speeding through it the second time.
Wow.
Difficulty, harder in the sense of just hard to get through, or like difficulty to get through. Because I had a straight up huge bug where my guns just one-shot everything. and I didn't know that it was happening until I ran into the first, like, right before you get to that place where you would encounter your mom, if you know what I'm talking about, the giant
And you
creature.
fight the 3 dudes.
3 shots. And I was like, is this on, like, I'm on normal, but is this a bug? What's going on here? Chad was like, oh yeah, you're definitely bugged. You're just flat out bugged. So.
Oh yeah, on hard, I mean, until I started really getting my perks, I mean, I would spend like 4 or 5 full clips taking down something my level.
Yeah.
With like an automatic weapon. Things get very spongy on hard. But then of course, I get level 15, I get a perk that doubles all of the damage of my guns, and then I get a 15% damage boost the next level. And now and I've been getting crit stuff the whole time. And now I'm like taking down bosses before my magazine's even up. So it's become more enjoyable in that respect.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
I did like the customization stuff from the very brief interaction that I
This
had.
stuff is cool.
Yeah. Does that continue to be cool? Like, is that a good system?
Absolutely. My gun right now is like, and honestly, one of the best parts of the game. I got a really cool rifle mid part. I think it's called a base, and that actually had a perk on it that made it so every time I fire, it fires 2 additional bullets in a burst. And then I got like a really nice magazine that adds even more ammo to it, a scope on top for more damage, a cool barrel. You know, I have you can see the back end on this gun here. I added on, and all of that stuff's awesome.
Cool.
Like that part of the game is one of the best parts of the game. And if they keep having interesting items and effects with perks, like so far I've only seen perks on the base, but if it's the kind of thing where other parts of your gun can also get perks, I mean, you could just go out and like farm all sorts of stuff. And some of the perks are cool, like convert your shotgun bullets to saw blades that then pierce enemies. Another one that adds like a ton of range to the weapon. Like all of the bases can have the elemental damages associated with them too. So I mean, there's some cool stuff for sure, and that part is one of them.
Yeah, that seemed to be the more interesting aspect of the game. That and I thought the character creation, while I don't think it is that heavy in terms of your decisions, it's cool. Yeah, it was to just have a giant wheel that you can just, it's kind of like a color wheel in a lot of ways, where you can just pick a random thing and then it gives you the little hex string if someone wants to copy it. Like, it was an interesting
your whole
way.
body like changes proportions based on where your stats are. Funny story, by the way, you can go out into the later parts of the game and you can find these big glowing pits, and they give you that wheel to make your character how you look, but it doesn't affect your stats at all. So you can go up to one of these pits and you can just completely choose how you want your character to look, and your character like jumps in the molten green radioactive goo and then just pops out however you want him to look. So I was kind of like, well, that kind of just
they have that technology. Did anyone tell
I know,
Cyberpunk?
right?
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Cyberpunk didn't get that.
Oh, cyberjunk. Anyway,
this came out after Cyberpunk, so they pioneered this technology, right?
They did.
Yeah. Still waiting on that patch, CDPR. What's up with 1.3? Anyway, okay. But yeah, so that there are like, yeah, it's again a very decent $30 action adventure game. But I'm hoping they'll kind of keep working on it. Maybe try to tighten up some stuff. The next patch will be really good with the narration stuff. I think that'll really help.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll kind of see where it goes.
Well,
this part was pleasantly surprised. Like I like the mech and stuff.
The mech
has tons of customization. Yeah. I just got to the second part where you get like a little boat. You can like customize the boat and stuff as well. I heard there's other vehicles for the other bosses and stuff. So I mean, again, there's cool stuff in here.
Yeah, we'll see. It's 20 people made this. I wonder what they do next, right? Like I wonder.
20 people made it, but as somebody in my chat pointed out, and thanks for this, Ragnaros, 20 people made the game, but they also outsourced a bunch of stuff too. So it was more like 40 or 50 involved. It by no means was like a little tiny team. Like a lot of people worked.
Are you trying? It's not an indie team, perhaps, Co? Is that
we're gonna say it's an ind. So it's like half indie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more of an ind game.
Gotcha. Noted.
Let me go ahead and check with the High Council of Streamers here and see if we agree on what title to give this kind of game.
Okay. All right. Let us know. Let
me hit the High Streamer Discord, and we'll
actually if it's indie, if we're doing everything,
they lost their partnership.
The Low Council.
Jeez,
rough.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's Biomutant. God, every time I go to their highlights now, I go to past broadcasts and I'm like, Zeke, you haven't streamed ever. What's happened? What?
I know. Like, all your VODs are gone. Yeah, no, that's what everyone says.
Yeah.
I have to remind people, like, we take the past broadcasts, or Scott takes
Right.
the past broadcast and chops out all the breaks and puts them in the highlights to avoid any sort of DMCA nonsense.
Sure, makes sense. I've seen a lot of these games that you played, thanks to me watching almost every trailer that comes out these days. What is? I saw the trailer for this. Had no idea what the game is about. I saw the trailer.
It's a piece of garbage.
I
It's
thought
crap.
that
It's
was
a
much.
terrible
30
game.
minutes. 30 minutes is
Tell
your
us what
vibe.
you really feel.
What do you
Yeah.
like? What do you actually do
What
in
even
this
is
game?
this?
Well, Just Die Already is by the same developers as Goat Simulator. Now, whereas Goat Simulator had like a good amount of humor, charm, like purposeful jank kind of stuff. Like, I liked Goat Simulator. I had no problem with that. This one starts off by being fucking annoying. There's like screaming and yelling happening in the place you start out in.
Uh-huh.
I had to be told that the first area bugged because there's a key in the you're locked in your room in the old folks home, right?
Uh-huh.
And you have to find a key, and it's in a drawer that I opened, and someone said, yeah, the key bugged out and it's not there, so you can't get out of the first area. I was like, I've been playing this for 5 minutes and it's already I soft locked. So I had to start the game over. I opened the drawer and sure enough, pew, key pops right out. I'm like, okay, this does not bode well. So I open the door and there's old people in the old folks home, like yelling, just going, ah, 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 like all over the place. I'm like, this
That's what
is not
happens.
charming or funny. It is just like, I have a big indie heart and I can put up with a lot of shit, but it seemed like the developers were like, let's annoy them right away. Let's get them used to this. Like, why though? And then once you find out, like after, I don't know, 8 or 9 minutes of playing it, you find out how to leave. You leave the place, and then it's an open world, just like Goat Simulator was, where you just have like a list of tasks. They call it the bucket list in this game for obvious reasons.
Sure.
But you have a list of things like get electrocuted 3 times by peeing on something. You're like, okay. And then like all those kind of weird tasks. And there's no really central story. It's just kind of like exploration, task completion, shit like that. There are some like, that's kind of funny.
Is that a real
But,
person
like,
or is that AI?
No, that's AI.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I encountered any real people.
Yeah.
But the controls are awful. They're fucking terrible. I hope we can see this water element, this little river element that's right here.
Yeah.
There is a conveyor belt with a button next to it. You can see it on the left there. See that conveyor belt?
Yeah. Briefly.
With a button next to it, and you hit the button, and it pushes out like a ski-doo, like a jet ski.
Okay.
And you can't get it in the water. Look right here. Here it is. So I'm on it. I'm revving it, man. And you're thinking, oh, why didn't you just let the thing dump it in the water? It doesn't go in the water. And there's almost no fucking way to push it in the water. Like, so many things pissed me off immediately about this game that I don't know how long I played it for, like 20
It was 30
25
minutes. It was very brief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it pissed me off, so I left it. So I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay. It seems a little bit like this is the like I don't even know what they're called, like YouTuber bait type games, right?
Oh,
like
for
that,
sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a meme game.
Yeah. Well, that's my choice from Minty Sunday. Is there a game that Mindscanners? I'll just kind of read them off.
Mindscanners. I would love to talk about Mindscanners.
Let's talk about it.
Mindscanners surprised me, and it's stuck in my brain a little bit. I want to go back to it. Mindscanners immediately will remind you of Papers, Please, for good reason. However, like here, let me do the due diligence here.
Okay.
Your duty is to diagnose and treat the citizens of the structure. The patient list is long, so don't waste your time. We'll let you see your daughter soon. So there's some ominous shit going on, like immediately.
Okay.
So the basic premise is you are working for a dystopian government, the structure, on this, I don't know, made up island. Like it's not like doesn't take place in the U.S. or anything. So, but you're on this made up island, and you are employed by the government, and they have your daughter as like forcing you to do this, like forcing you to mind scan people. And what you do is you go around and you mind scan people who have been flagged for being erratic or showing weird behavior or something like that. And you're the judge judging them sane or insane. So if you judge them sane, they give you like, there's a budget. They call them, I can't remember what they call the money. It's like K-bucks. So they give you like 3 K-bucks if you judge them sane and move on. But if you judge them insane and you go through their thing, go through their treatment, so to speak, they give you more, like 15 or so or whatever. But the thing that makes it, that grabbed me more than Papers, Please did is the way you treat these people is like mini games. And you have to, like, it can be like a little nerve-wracking because you have to be kind of fast. So there's also like, if you do a mini game incorrectly, see there's the photo in the upper right, see the lightning bolt meter?
Yep. That's
their stress. So if you fuck up, like one stress. And then if they get stressed out, shit happens, something happens. And it's really cool. So it's like, kind of like nerve-wracking. You gotta like, some of them are like timing mini games where you gotta like hold the button down and then let it go to precise time. Some of them are like memory games. Like you have to like hear like a Morse code. It's like beep, boop, beep, beep, boop. And you're like, okay, that. Okay, go on to the next thing. And it's a lot of fun. Like I really enjoyed it. The music is great. The atmosphere really drew me in because the thing I like that turned me off about Papers, Please was the dreariness of it. It was so like sad.
It's the depressing game.
Depressing. Yeah. This one is more like dystopian, like you're doing the Voight comp test from Blade Runner, kind of. Right. It felt kind of like that a little bit. And each one of the characters in the game has their own kind of like story. And as you the first thing you do is scan them. You ask them questions. And then from those questions, you have 3 options or only one right answer of 3 options. And you, if you pick the right one, then you move on. If you pick the wrong one to categorize the person you're talking to, they get stressed. It goes, and you got to start over again. So you got to get 3 of the questions right in a row. And then you can diagnose them sane or insane. Sane, couple of bucks, move on. Insane, you do the treatments. The treatments that you can do, you buy them over time. So you start off with one treatment that can treat anything, but then you get specialized treatments that can clear. It's a little bit like Bejeweled or Tetris or something. You see underneath the picture, there are those symbols. Certain treatments, if you get those symbols like 3 in a row, certain treatments can knock out 3 symptoms in a row, if the 3 of the same one. So if you look right above my head on the screen there's that the 4-way T cross with dots, whatever. That's a specific treatment that you use to knock out 2. See how they're highlighted now underneath the picture? You knock out 2 at a time rather than just 1 at a time, what you start out with, the tool you start out with. And the fucking treatments are fucking funny sometimes. Like this one's like an audio treatment.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the hell is happening.
You have to turn the dial slow enough that it doesn't, because you'll start over if you turn too fast and stress them out. But basically, like you'll be turning the dial as fast and steady as you can without going over the speed. And you'll like how you know if they're going over, their mouth will go. You'll hear and then if you start getting too fast, it goes you gotta slow down. It's pretty fucking funny. But yeah, once you treat them, you end the day. You have to pay a certain amount, like it's like your rent, basically, like in Papers, Please, you pay your rent. And you get little tidbit, like a next little tidbit of a story. Like you'll get a fax from your daughter. or a memory, like with just text, or you get a fax from there is a group fighting against the Foundation. I can't remember their name, but they have like a faction name. They're like, we're sending you this fax because we know you're a mind scanner and blah blah blah. So it kind of unravels pretty like in a pretty cool fashion, mysterious, and you want to unravel it. Like I want to go back and like finish this game. I heard it's relatively short, but there's multiple endings, so you can complete it a few times and get different parts of the story, I think. But I loved it. I really enjoyed it. It is developed. The name of the game is Mindscanners. 2 words. It is developed by The Outer Zone, published by Brave at Night. It came out May 20th, my birthday. And it is $15.29 right now on sale from $16.99.
Cool. Yeah,
I loved it.
Happy belated.
Looks a little Papers, Pleasey for sure. That's a good way to describe that. What else do we got?
Hey, real quick, I got a game I want to talk about.
Sure.
I played Rhythm Doctor. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. All right.
Oh yeah, I remember Zeke. You played that,
DJ.
right? We talked about it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I don't know when.
Did you?
Good luck.
How
finding
far
the
did you
mod.
get?
Beat it. Beat what's there.
Nice.
End of Act 1.
Yeah. How long did it take?
Couple hours.
Yeah. I thought. Did you go
Did
A
some
and B
B-sides,
sides?
too.
You did.
I didn't finish all the B-sides.
Oh, you didn't. Okay.
Some of those are
Um,
tough.
You got the one thing, the one that everybody talks about, right? The one level, the one thing that has the really cool moving around.
Yeah.
Oh,
We,
yes.
we talked
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
a
Okay,
boss
cool.
fight.
Yeah.
That's the chapter 2 boss fight, I think.
Yeah.
If it's what I'm
Okay,
thinking of.
cool.
Yeah, that one was badass. Absolutely badass.
Yeah. Did you get into the story? Like some of the things like were hit real close. I like choked up a couple of times.
Dude, there's some pretty like there's some cool stuff in there. I feel attacked and I don't know how to feel, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, that's pretty on the nose, man. Pretty on the nose.
Last but not least, I don't know if we'll have another. I didn't realize you had played this, so I'm actually glad that you have, in some capacity. Because I'm not sure if me, Zeke, or Co have any plans to anytime soon. But the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is out there. DJ, I think this is Mass Effect 1, right? Is this what this VOD is? You started a playthrough? Is that what I'm looking at? Yeah.
Yes.
How are you finding? Is it as good as you remember? Is it better? Like how are you finding the remake, remaster,
I am
whatever they call
finding
it?
it gorgeous for one, because Mass Effect 1's models were redone, and I feel like they did a lot to try to modernize the Mass Effect, which makes me feel even more comfortable in hoping for a new Mass Effect game, because it seems like they'd be silly to bring all this hype toward Mass Effect again without following through with the game at some point. So I feel like there's going to be another one. But considering that these 3 games, in my opinion, are some of the best games in existence, I'm just excited to go back and experience it again, because there are a few games that I have put multiple 50-hour plus runs in than Mass Effect 1. Like I played 1 when it came out. When I found out that you could import your save into 2, I played through 1 again. When 3 came out, played through 1 and 2. When Andromeda came out, I played through all of them just to get into Andromeda with a full understanding of the Mass Effect story before I went into it. And I'm just excited for there to be more Mass Effect. And one of those small things that it seems small, but it's kind of a big deal, is that I actually have braids like they have in the game right now. Like
I like how I chose a scene where it's the back of someone else's head. While you're
it was a
talking.
fantastic choice, by the way. But like, there was no massive choice in hair back then, and it's still an interesting thing to see more games. It's like exciting to see more games bring in more hairstyles than the typical 3.
Sure.
So to have gotten my hair braided and to start a game and then find my exact hair in a game that is over a decade old and it did not exist in the original, that was pretty exciting. So it's an impressive game. If you've played Mass Effect 1, you know what to expect. It's the same game, but it feels more modern. And I'm actually just looking forward to getting to Mass Effect 2 and 3, because 1 was the most clunky of the series, but it feels like you can tell that they've kind of updated the combat a bit. But I'm very excited to see how 1 feels now compared to 2. and then compare that to 3. So I'm just excited to go through the full trilogy again, which I'm going to do.
Yeah, I've watched a handful of different streams for this of all 3 of the games, and to echo what you said at the start, like I really hope we get another Mass Effect in this vein, right? Like I would love to see this type of Mass Effect back. It had been so long since I had thought about like the stories of it or the way that they tell the stories in these games, and it's just so well done. It's better than so many games these days, right? Like it's remarkable.
It is. And what even makes it even weirder is that Black Dice Society, the game I was talking about earlier, Mark Meir, who is the voice of the male shepherd, is actually in that game. So it takes me a lot to not fanboy every time I go into the game that I play regularly, because it's always there in the back of my mind that it's like randomly I'm hoping he drops in and like, hey, hi, I'm Brother Uriah. This is my favorite. Like I just wait for it. But no, it's an amazing experience to see them update the game this much. It's just nice.
Yeah. I think it sold well too. So it's not like that fan base has dwindled at all over the years, even with Andromeda coming out. Like it's done super well.
They announced this. The LE is the most concurrent players on Steam, the second most that EA has had.
Damn.
Whoa.
Of any of their titles? What's
I'm
number
pretty
1?
sure-
Like some Battlefield or something?
Let me look and verify this. I saw it just a little bit ago. I'm pretty sure it's of EA titles. Maybe it's BioWare titles. Is it BioWare titles? Let me double check.
I guess Apex would probably be first. Yeah. I mean, that's still an awesome success, regardless of
it is.
of
Yeah,
the
it's
classification.
wildly successful, and it was of course the top seller for a while too.
Yeah, that's true. It's all true. I really hope we get the next iteration of that, and it lives up to the Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 pedigree that is out there for sure. I've actually thought of like jumping into a game of this off stream, just to screw around. I've been watching someone who's kind of they've played it so many times, they're kind of doing a joke playthrough of it and picking all the wacky choices. And so like punching the news reporter in all the games or whatever is pretty good. It's been a fun thing to track all that. So did you find that story?
Like
okay.
Looking.
What was
I
that,
played through this one time years ago. Like the first time I played through it was on stream. It was, God, it had to be like at least 5 or 6 years ago. I went through the trilogy, and I always when this came out, I was like, I already went through it, man. I went through it on stream, and I don't think I can have like the same experience. Like I don't want to try and recapture, how it felt. However, I forgot about like the Paragon and what was it? What is it?
Renegade.
Paragon and Renegade.
Yep.
I did like Paragon-ishy run. I didn't do. Maybe I'll go back and do a full ass Renegade.
You can be
run.
a bastard.
You can.
Yeah.
It is impressive.
Yeah.
Like one of the first things I like about Mass Effect 1, and one of the things I do every time I play, is that when you first land on the planet, that you find out about the thing that kind of takes the story off to a heavy branch. And I'm which is weird because I'm trying to avoid spoilers for a 15-year-old game plus. But regardless,
Spoilers are
go into
spoilers,
a little
man.
cabin, and there's 2 people in there, and then this one dude is just like foreshadowing everything, but he's just like going crazy, and you can punch him, and I punch him every time because it just feels great. It's like, my dude, calm down. We're trying to have a civil conversation here, and you just kind of got to punch him to just feel better about yourself, and then to have a level conversation with somebody. It's pretty awesome, and I kind of make that choice every time out of principle.
Yeah. Is it ever explained?
Well, at least you get to punch somebody in this game, unlike Disco Elysium, where you can just fail it over and over again and actually never do it.
It's true.
For the entire game.
It's true. Do they ever
Sorry, go ahead,
explain
JP.
the like canonical reasons for your face cracking as a renegade? Like what? Is that just because you're
actually.
evil?
And you talking about Mass Effect 2?
Yeah, like is there a canonical reason?
It's the same as in real
There
life.
is.
Have you ever seen like a real evil person? The evil just bleeds out their face and cracks.
I have not. I have not encountered that. I have not.
Yeah.
You
You need more evil friends.
I do. I need to get some more evil friends for sure.
Mhm.
I found the article, at least someone linked it and said Mass Effect Legendary Edition hits the highest Steam concurrent players for a BioWare game. That was classification.
Thank you. Okay, there it is.
Say how
That's
many?
still badass. BioWare's made a lot of games.
They have, yeah. The peak player count was 60,000 on Sunday, is when that went. Well, that was 9 days ago, so it was over the weekend, I guess, of the release for that. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I got confused. It's not that your face cracks; it's that it actually the evil leaks out of you. It was recorded
Ew.
during a press conference with Rudy Giuliani. I'm sorry. That was yeah.
Oh,
Now we're
Here I
political.
was
that
thinking that was
explains
air
a
dye.
lot.
There we go. It took 280 episodes, but we're finally
I got
political.
confused there. That was my fault. That was my fault.
Well done.
Let's
done.
do some shout outs and call it a show forever. Zeke, you want to start us off?
Sure, you bet. What's up, everybody? My name is Zeke, or Ezekiel the Third. You can find me at or / Ezekiel _III, just like it's spelled right there. Big, huge, fat thank you to DeeJayKnight for joining us on the stream today. Sorry that I can't believe I forgot our time together. It's still bugging me, dude. That's gonna bug me for a long time. That I forgot we were on Star Trek together. Anyway, thank you for being on the show, man. Always informative, and I appreciate you. Also, thank you to Co and JP for being the co-host with me every week. You can find me at 10 a.m. Pacific, usually every day, except Tuesday. I will be streaming. Tomorrow, we're going to have a sponsor stream to start, Solasta. We're going to do a couple hours. And then, once that is complete, we will jump right back into Resident Evil 4. My first time playing. We just got our first companion. I don't know if we're going to get any more, but we got our first companion, and we straight up murdered her, and then we had to start over again. So that'll be fun to go back to. So I'll see you tomorrow if you want to check that out. Thank you very much for watching.
Awesome. Co, do some shout outs.
Absolutely. As always, a big thanks to JP and Zeke, and a special thank you to DeeJayKnight. It was a great episode. Lots to talk about, lots to do. And yeah, thanks for being on. That being said, I'm Co. Hi. Tomorrow morning, I'm doing a non-sponsored look at Solasta. Apparently, they spent everything on Zeke again. I tell you, what is with these people? Then I'll be taking a sponsored look at a game called Scarlet Nexus. Looking forward to that. We're going to be playing the demo of that. Then I'm off for the rest of the day for house stuff. I'll also be back this evening at 6:30 to check out a new pirate game called King of Seas. Apparently, it looks to be some like indie pirate procedural action RPG things. So we're going to be checking that out. Then tomorrow, again, Solasta and Scarlet Nexus. Then we're going to be taking a look at Graven at some point as well. This new kind of a retro-looking puzzle. I don't know, all sorts of stuff. And then we've got all sorts of games coming up in the future as we've got a bunch of releases coming up. So anyway, hope to see you there. As always, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.
DJ, do some shout outs.
Oh, hi. Hi, I'm DeeJayKnight. I want to thank the entire team of Drop Trains for having me this week. It's been a pleasure to be back. And I also want to give a special shout out to Zeke for not only for getting me, but the dozens of hours we spent together playing the Star Trek.
Come on, man.
Dozens of hours, like legitimately.
Hey, DJ, I'm going to interrupt you. You're welcome on the show anytime. Anytime. Just let
Thank
me
you
know.
very much.
Just shoot me a DM. Shoot Co a DM. Don't message Zeke. He won't respond anyways.
Nope,
So.
I won't. He'll ignore it because he forgets that
I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Have we met before?
Yeah, do I know you?
You're DeeJayKnight?
God.
Wow. Word. It's a pleasure to
You've heard
meet you.
great things.
Thanks, Zeke. But no, I'm DeeJayKnight. I'm a space and sci-fi streamer primarily. Elite Dangerous Odyssey is where I've been spending my time, and I likely will be spending it for the foreseeable future, aside from Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which I'll be bouncing in and out of tonight, actually. In about 2 hours, I'll be getting ready for my Into the Motherlands game, which the Kickstarter we talked about earlier, reaching almost 200,000, broke 200,000 during this episode. So I'm kind of excited that that game just grows and gets more awesome by the day. Tomorrow we'll be on the official D&D podcast. And again, I'm going to be in here on this stream, or my stream, because they're live on my channel too, playing Elite Dangerous and Mass Effect, because what better time is there for a sci-fi gamer than to experience Elite Dangerous, getting Odyssey released, Star Citizen, having Fleet Week, and Mass Effect Legendary Edition coming out? All of my time is going to be spent in those because reasons. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having a fantastic day.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. We'll be back next week. We don't have a guest lined up, but we do have someone in mind. We'll probably be announcing them soon, so make sure you're following us on Twitter. If you do want to listen to us in audio format, you can check out droppedframe.es or just Google Drop Frames on any of the podcast platforms you want to listen to. Tomorrow, I'll be checking out all the craziness in terms of these. Conferences. They're not even conferences. They're just like game highlights. There's one at 12 p.m. Eastern with Sonic, 3 p.m. Eastern for Dying Light. There's a Horizon State of Play tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. We got to get in some chivalry. We got to sync up. Are you playing tomorrow night or tomorrow during the day?
I said I was going to play Graven tomorrow night. Shiv 2 tomorrow night. Yes.
Great.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll do Graven some other time. But yeah, Shiv 2 tomorrow for sure.
Cool. We'll connect. Yeah.
Ooh, I forgot a thing.
What's up, DJ?
Yeah. What's going on?
I talked about Elite Dangerous, and I forgot a very valid point that if you are curious about Elite Dangerous, it is on Xbox Game Pass right now. So if you have an Xbox, you can try it for free.
There you go.
Or if you have Game Pass, you can try it with no extra money spent.
There you go.
Here for you.
Speaking of that, thanks for the reminder, DJ. If you want to check out Solasta, the new RPG that's coming out tomorrow, it is releasing on Game Pass.
It is.
So if you have Game Pass and you like CRPGs, Solasta is free if you're buying Game Pass. Bonus, right? Zeke, is that right? Did I say that right? Bonus. It's bonus if it's on. Remember, you said that? Okay, good. Making sure.
Yep.
So yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Nice. Nice. Speaking of Xbox, they also just announced June 13th officially at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. It will be the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase. Co's upset.
Very nice.
I just locked in something at that time. Okay. Well, anyway. Okay. Awesome.
Me and Zeke will be here.
I'm just looking
Probably
for
some
more
other
info on
folks.
Starfield.
And Co might not.
I just need info on Starfield. That's all I need.
There you go. Maybe. We'll see.
Please.
We'll see. We'll be back next week with more Drop Frames. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you three for being here. We're out of here, though. Have a good one. Bye-bye.